why is it so critical, not only for babies and children's health and wellness development, but also for parents? Let's talk about like what's underneath the value of sleep.
Yeah. So, probably most people know this now, but they didn't really know this even 25, 30 years ago. It wasn't talked about a lot. But when you go to sleep, even though our body is resting and sleeping, our brain is doing a lot of important work while we're sleeping for our babies and really our children for probably the first 18 years, maybe 21. They're working on producing and secreting growth hormones to grow at the incredible rate they do, again, largely at night. Then we as adults and our children are working on our immune system, again, largely at night, right? So it makes sense when we get sleep deprived for long enough, we're more likely to get sick, which is why during the pandemic, I was a really big proponent of get good quality sleep. And you do have to get good quality sleep, go to sleep around the same time, wake up around the same time. And the other really important part about sleep is that during sleep, we have memory retention, storage, and consolidation. Right? This is like the foundation of learning. I know I've experienced this. I'm sure you have too. You get sleep deprived, and one of the first thing that goes is your short-term memory. You're like, did I send that email or not? Right? You feel like it's just on the grass of the edge of your mind. That sort of sleep deprived fog, brain fog that we have. So it really is foundational for our brain in thinking and memory and storage. And then imagine when you're a child, although I think we're all learning no matter what our age, but especially when our kids are in school, they really need they need access to everything, their brain functioning on a high level so that they can learn and remember everything.
Awesome. So you mentioned going to bed at the same time every night. Can you talk to us a little bit more about some of the best practices that you recommend that support structure and getting ready for having a nighttime routine, whether it's for babies or for young children, that really supports quality restorative sleep?
Yeah. So you probably know, and your listeners too, that we all have an internal clock called our circadian rhythm. It is the clock that tells us when to be awake and when to be asleep. And it doesn't really like it when we operate off mode, right? So, in general, I'm going to talk about people who don't work third shift because they have a harder time. But in general, we're supposed to be awake. Our body's supposed to be awake around, 6 to 8 p.m. That's why they apparently call it primetime television too, because they know that that's when we're prime, we're awake, our bodies, sleep pressure has not built up enough yet, again, for us as adults, to go to sleep. And so the body wants us to go to sleep around the same time and wake up around the same time because of this circadian rhythm. So if we operate off mode, like I'm going to stay up really late because I'm in college and I'm studying for an exam. I'm going to stay up till, 2 a.m. And then I'm sure you've experienced this. I know I have, like you miss your bedtime window and your body says, well, I don't see any signs of going to sleep, which it used to have. It should have a calming routine is one thing, and dim lights or darkness is another thing that tells the body, it's time for bed, secrete melatonin, secrete drowsy making hormones so that we can go to sleep. And if it doesn't see any signs, the TV's on, the music, we're drinking coffee, then it says, we better wake up. And it starts secreting alerting hormones. So the infamous second wind. Our babies get this too. I'm sure parents have seen their kids running around like the Energizer Bunny, at 10 p.m. because actually their bedtime was at 8. And now the body's, overcompensating. So we want to kind of catch that wave. Dr. Weisloff uses a great metaphor. He says it's kind of like surfing. You want to catch that wave at the perfect time so it brings you into shore. Otherwise, it crashes on your head, right? And you get that second wind. And then it's hard to go to sleep and stay asleep. So they say the adult average window, again, some people argue that this is not totally true because it depends on your chronotype, but is something like 10 to 11 p.m. Dr. Michael Brios, the sleep doctor, has a great quiz on his website on figure out what your chronotype is, which will tell you are you like a night owl or a morning bird? But he has different metaphors for it. But that's really helpful so that then you can work with your own body type, because they do say that there is a hereditary connection with that. And that it's really hard to change. Like if you're a morning lark, then you probably will be a morning lark your whole life. And so you're better off kind of working with that.